Astrology is kind of the same way. So it's like the conscious awareness that you have from learning your chart is the transformation that you're looking to achieve. So it's not necessarily that you need to like change all this and have this and wish it was that way. It's like the total opposite. It's like being in a state of being that you come to appreciate and work with the energies and the archetypes you're given.
Before we dive in, let me tell you about the book that started a podcasting revolution, Make Every Podcast Want You. It is not just a bestseller, it is a 2-time gold medalist, baby. This book is your ultimate guide to landing dream podcast interviews, building authority authentically, and making your voice the one they remember. If you've got a message and a mission, this is your mic drop moment. Grab your copy today in the link below and step into the spotlight that you were born for. Welcome to the Crown Yourself podcast, where together we build your empire and transform your subconscious stories about what's possible for your business, body, and life. I'm your host, Kimberly Spencer, founder of crownyourself.com, and I'm a master mindset coach, best-selling author, TEDx speaker, known to my clients as a game changer. Each week, you get the conscious leadership strategies you need to help you reign with courage, clarity, and confidence so that you too can make the income and impact you deserve. Imagine this podcast as your royal invitation to step into your full potential and reign in your divine purpose. Your sovereignty starts here, and your reign is now. Luna, welcome to the Crown Yourself podcast. I think where I want to start is, what relationship have you found that you have with astrology, and how did you get to develop that relationship with the planets?
Okay, we're starting off strong.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the thing about astrology is that it is waiting for everybody. Like, it is, I have cultivated this deep, esoteric, but also very grounded relationship with the so-called planets in the sky. But this is available to everybody. And I think astrology is like this long lost whisper, reminding you of who you are and what you're here to do. And to those that feel the call to, in some ways, release their ego construct that they're this very unique individual, and release it into this higher belief that I could be a subset of cyclical archetypal patterns in this big blend of a cosmic universe, that everything is happening perfectly for a reason. Then astrology can find those people. So other people who struggle with the idea of self-reflection, of awareness, of consciousness, of releasing your ego construct to a higher meaning, I don't think those people are meant to learn astrology. I think astrology is meant for certain people. So I actually found myself running to the horoscope section at the Starbucks around my school when I was in high school. And I don't know why, but I felt so seen when I was reading about Pisces. I always resonated with that sign, and I always was like, this is me. And I tried to study it and talk about it with people, but I didn't really have the language or the tools to do that properly. And so people would just shut me down or tell me like that didn't make any sense, or that wasn't scientifically accurate, or whatever. And so I kind of just studied it in private with this other hipster girlfriend in high school with me. And we would just smoke weed and talk about like different archetypes and, you know, oh, this person's such a Taurus and whatever. And it was just fun. It was just something, I didn't really know that it had a deeper thing, like a birth chart. I didn't know that Venus had anything to do with my life. I didn't know about anything. I just liked the 12 archetypes. And one day, my social studies teacher, so this is in grade 10, he says, we're going to go to the library and we're going to listen to a presentation on astrology. He was a hippie. And I remember my heart just like dropping, and I was like, oh my God, like this is my thing, like this, you know. And in that presentation, it was just like everything came true for me and life just started to make sense. And I started to see the librarian after school because she was an astrologer. And so I didn't know what I was doing. I just kept going to her and asking her questions. And so my relationship to it today is, honestly, I am so freaking grateful because it really, actually my partner, he turned to me one day and he said, Luna, I don't think you really accept a lot of life. I think you have a challenge accepting some things in life. And I looked at him and I said, yeah, I think you're right. But astrology gives me that acceptance. So the thing with astrology is that when I look at it on a daily basis, or when I want to just have new downloads about my birth chart, it reminds me that everything is exactly perfect. Nothing's out of place. Even all of the struggles, all of the amazing things, like there's a story and there's a timeline and there's a map to your life. So I don't know why more people don't look into it, because it is the most grounded and spiritual thing that has like really anchored me into this 3D world. It's not at all about this esoteric otherworldly experience. It is esoteric, but it's grounded in this reality that just makes you brings you to your knees, because you just feel like, wow, my life is divinely curated into perfection, and I don't know what is more valuable than that. So
I love that perspective of seeing astrology as, the divine curation of the plan. Because I mean, I've had moments. I remember I was talking to one of my mentor who taught me astrology, and I said, I'm getting this feeling like January 13th, like something is shifting. And it was at the time we were buying our house, and it was back in 2023, and we had plane tickets, and I forget what shift was happening, but my intuition directly correlated with the relationship with what was going on with the planets. And it was in that moment that I was like, yes, I completely understand that there is a deeper divine will and plan for my life beyond the scope of what I see, but also aligning my intuition with being able to follow that and trust, like, oh, this year is not my year to have, this goal or to achieve this thing. Like, that's actually, there are certain learning lessons that are going to be happening in this season that next year is really my thing if I learn those lessons. So I think one of the questions that a lot of people have about astrology is, when does your will conflict with astrology, like our egoic will? And when do we become completely subservient and passive about our lives because of the planets or because of the relationship that we have with the stars?
Yeah, this is okay, so this question you're asking is generally a question that astrologers tackle later in their astrological studies, because it's like the concept of free will, right? And there's this concept of fate as well, like how much am I in control? And that is a huge question that a lot of astrologers attempt to tackle, and I would be giving the universe a disservice if I claimed to know this exact truth. But what I believe, and I want to believe this, is that the conscious understanding of learning astrology is what allows the co-creation with the universe. To how much extent that is, I don't know. But when you have the language to understand, like, okay, this might happen today, is that self-manifestation, or is that you working with the planets and the planets are choosing you so that you're prepared for that thing? It's kind of a complicated topic, but in some ways, there's a part of me that doesn't feel like we have much free will, to be honest. And I don't really like that answer. So I like to say, like, oh yeah, we do have free will as long as we use astrology and we know what we're working with. And then there's this other part of me that's like, yeah, very funny, Luna, we're not in control at all. So I actually don't know. And I think as long as we choose our reality and we choose to be empowered, then that's the only thing that we can kind of go with it, because frankly, maybe the planets are reflecting everything in our lives and we think we have control. I don't know. Or maybe they just want us to learn the language and then we can work with that energy to be in alignment with the cycles. Like, that's true too. So yeah, I don't really know.
I think, I mean, it's such an interesting idea, because it like our egos, we hate that concept of like, oh, we're not really in control, right? But at the same time, it's like looking at divine will and how things end up manifesting, when exactly they start manifesting, and how everything just kind of, in hindsight, it's always 2020 because everything looks exactly like it fell into place perfectly, exactly as it should be. That led you to this moment. And when you're looking at astrology, what is the first thing that you want to be looking for within your own chart? What would you say is the primary thing to start understanding, is to build the relationship? Because I think any solid relationship is built on understanding. And what do we first need to understand about astrology and our relationship with the planets and the stars to be able to start grasping and building this relationship on a mutual understanding?
Totally. I love this. So I think the number one thing is to learn your birth chart. And even if you want to take that a step back, just learning your sun, moon, and rising sign. So this is like the essence and the core archetype of who you are in the world. And once you understand, okay, this is the sun, this is where the sun was when I was born, this is where the moon was when I was born, this was the constellation that was rising on the eastern horizon when I was born, and all of that has a story that you can understand, then you move into understanding the rest of your birth chart. Where was Venus? Where was Mercury? Where was Saturn? Where's Jupiter? And so on. And all of this you can do for free. You just can go to Cafe Astrology or astro.com. In my own podcast episodes, I actually teach how to pull up birth charts for free. So you need your birth information, as well as your time of birth, and then your location of birth. So if you don't know your time of birth, you can check your birth certificate, you can call the hospital, you can ask your mom, but then you want to fill in that information, and then it will give you a chart of your birth chart. And this is a snapshot of the moment you were born, from a geocentric tropical astrology perspective. And don't worry about that language. And we'll revisit that. And that story is the story of your life. It doesn't just hold key archetypes that you carry. It actually holds the story about your childhood, your past, your relationship with your mother, your father, with your love life, your dating life, your marriage, your business and your career, your soul purpose, how to generate more money, how you should dress, like what you should speak about. Like, it's literally all there. But it's generally a lot of information, and someone like me is obviously hired to translate that, but you don't have to, come to me like right away. You can just go online, you can look up your birth chart and just start to understand your sun, moon, and rising, and literally just do research on that. Like, say you're a moon in Capricorn, you always knew you were in Aries, you do some research on Aries, and then you're like, oh, interesting, I'm a moon in Capricorn. Like, what does that mean? And then you start researching that, and then, oh, interesting, I'm a Gemini rising. What does that mean? And then you start researching on that, and then you can go deeper.
Yeah. Finding out that I was a Leo rising really changed.
Oh my God.
Changed a lot for me.
You literally have like a tiger at the back of you. Like, are you joking? Oh my God, that's so funny. And it's like and the crystals, it's very like royal, right? So oh my God, and the crown, yeah. Oh
and
my
the
God.
crown theme
branding.
And the whole branding. I was like, oh, and my son is a double Leo. So Leo rising, and he's already stated he is a prince. And I was,
oh my,
all right.
That's so amazing. I love that.
But it was like originally, originally identify with just our sun sign and like, oh, I'm a Virgo. And so that just makes me anal retentive and like, and perfectionistic, which I definitely was in my childhood. But being able to understand the relationship with each of these in each of the houses as well. That when I discovered the entirety of my chart and where each of my signs landed for each of my houses and how those signs or planets govern the houses, that one was an awakening for me of understanding and also being able to do some deep archetypal healing work. If one of the areas in my chart suddenly I was like, this area is like having some problems, I would be able to look at how do I access those pieces of those archetypes within us.
100%. 100%. And I love that you like fully embrace that Leo rising life, because that's exactly what I tell my clients to do, especially like with business and stuff, is to like embrace more of their rising sign, because generally that's like what the world wants of you. So yeah, I totally resonate with that and what you're saying. And I also agree that when you see like little areas where you're like, I don't really love that, like, can I work with that energy? I generally find like the more quote unquote challenging parts in the chart are meant for you to learn from and grow and work with. And there are some parts where I'm like, oh, there's that Mars-Venus opposition that I have, and there it is. And it's not necessarily that I've healed it or fixed it. I mean, I've chosen to be healed, so I'm fully healed. But I'm always growing and learning, and there's that piece again. And I think like a lot of astrology is actually similar to meditation. And I know that sounds weird, but I think that like when you meditate and you're like, okay, I'm going to meditate today, I'm going to do the thing, and you're meditating, and it's just like your mind is just like going crazy, and you're just witnessing your mind, and you're like, am I even fucking doing this right? Is this even helpful? Like, am I like, but yet the act of meditation is you witnessing those thoughts. And so you can't really do meditation wrong as long as you're doing meditation. And astrology is kind of the same way. So it's like the conscious awareness that you have from learning your chart is the transformation that you're looking to achieve. So it's not necessarily that you need to like change all this and have this and wish it was that way. It's like the total opposite. It's like being in a state of being that you come to appreciate and work with the energies and the archetypes you're given.
If you're listening to this interview thinking, I want to do that, I want to be on more podcasts, I want to share my brilliance with the world, then I have got the service for you. It is called Podmatch. Think of it like Bumble, but for podcasting. This AI-powered platform matches you with the right podcast host so you can pitch less and get booked more. I've used it to land aligned interviews that amplified my voice and built my brand. It is literally one of the few services I recommend in my best-selling award-winning Make Every Podcast Want You. Sign up now at podmatch.com in the link below.
Not necessarily that you need to like change all this and have this and wish it was that way. It's like the total opposite. It's like being in a state of being that you come to appreciate and work with the energies and the archetypes you're given.
And the self-acceptance that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a level of acceptance of like, all right, this is how I came to this planet at this lifetime, and I'm created to be in some divine way to fulfill a purpose that fits into these archetypes. Now, one of the things that I love is that you keep on mentioning archetypes. So can you extrapolate on what an archetype is? Because I mean, there's Joseph Campbell's The Hero with 1,000 Faces archetypes and all the different, like, looking at these archetypes, how do these guide us or are reflections of aspects of us?
I can't even believe you're like the only person, because I've done so many freaking podcasts and I've talked so much about astrology, and you're like the only person that's really like, these are like the hugest questions. Like, they're the biggest questions that you could ask. Like, oh my God, it's so good. I'll do my best. Yeah, archetypes, like, I'm not actually, there's a branch of astrology called archetypal astrology. Richard and Becca Tarnas, their dad and daughter, they kind of grandfathered that. And they even struggle to articulate what an archetype is. But what I've found from my tons of years of research is that an archetype is something that can be quantifiable, even though people say it's not. It's qualitative to a subset series of behaviors, of desires, of likes and dislikes. It's just qualities and characteristics. And a lot of people think that astrology is based off of the stars, but it's actually based off of the seasons. So when you're born in Cancer season, for example, you're actually born in the height of summer. So those qualities, they take on the Cancer person will have like the qualities of summer, and same with Leo and same with Virgo. All of them have a season that's associated with it. And I think the best way to actually understand archetypes is paying attention if you live in a, 4-season spot is to look at the archetypes, because like when it was Gemini season here, I was laughing so much because it was literally like you had no idea what to wear when you're going outside, because it could be super sunny or super rainy the next minute, or just like it was gray and then all of a sudden it's pouring rain. All of a sudden there's rainbows, and then you're just like, oh my God, I'm wearing sandals right now and it's pouring rain. And I think that like everything has a cyclical nature to it. And these are what people base archetypes off of, is that apparently if you look at who was born around certain times according to the seasons, because as above, so below, it's not that the planets or everything do things to us. It's more that they reflect what's happening on Earth. And for some reason, there's just these patterns. And I really believe in archetypes. I really believe in these subset cyclical characteristics that show up because I can't deny it. Once you learn the language, you are like, that is literally me to a T. Like that couldn't. And I have read charts every day, and they're so different, and it's unbelievable. Like truly, okay, so I have this service. Sorry, I'm kind of going on a rant, but I have this service that is like, it's $45, and you can ask me anything, and it's a 5-minute audio response that you get from me. And when I first launched this offering, I got 40 bookings at once. And I was like, holy shit, like my new career is answering 5-minute questions. And it was just kind of a joke, And for me, it's like cute and funny. And then the questions I would get from people were so insane. They're literally like, what's my sole purpose in life? Or like, who is my ideal partner? And all I have is a birthday and a name, no face, no nothing, just a birthday and a name. And so I was like, okay, I'll just read the chart, see what happens. And I would just send this voice message audio, which is like, I usually do birth chart readings, which are like an hour long, but this is just a 5-minute thing. And the response that I got from people, I cannot even make this shit up, where people are like, I have never felt more seen in my entire life in this 5-minute audio that you sent me. Or people just being like, how is this even possible? Like, you just described my dream career that I've wanted since I was a child. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's the planets. I don't know if it's a blend of, but I don't know if they've just chosen me as a vessel. Like, I don't know, but it's just something that really works. And it's something that, takes time. You have to want to get good at it, but it's so crazy that you can read, like I basically read people's souls for a living. And it's just so wild to me. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the things is like I said, with looking at the whole chart, like I remember when my mentor showed me, she's like, your chart. And I was like, what? And she goes, you have Taurus in your career house.
Aww.
My husband has always said, like, I am like the most masculine, feminine woman. Because in my career, no matter what I've done, I've always been incredibly bullish of just
Yes.
it goes forward. It just goes forth and does what it does. And I'm just going to, quantum leap and watch this happen. And being able to see that it does provide a reflection and also in a way of permission.
Oh, totally.
To be able to say, okay, this is how I'm uniquely, beautifully designed to be this. So when you look at your chart, Luna, how does it demonstrate your unique design and soul purpose?
Oh my God. I think everybody has this, exactly what you're talking about, this like beauty to embrace more of. Like, it's so effortless for me to see that in people's charts. It really is. But for myself, I mean, one of the biggest turning points was understanding that I was a Scorpio rising. Yeah. So for those that don't know what I look like, I am completely covered in tattoos. I'm very, very gothic. I actually have a black arm, like a tattooed black arm. And I'm very, very witchy. I'm very, I have things, I have like dead birds, behind me, but my room is purple, right? So there's this light quality as well to Scorpio. Like, this Scorpio is not just gothic. Scorpio also represents like death and rebirth. So there was this like part to me that I didn't really understand, where like my mom would tell me when I was a child, I would only wear pink dresses and anything that was pink was mine. And I had this really fierce belief that of pink. And so as I grew up, and anytime I would wear just a dot of color, people would be like, oh my God, I love color on you. So I always thought that I had to be really colorful, even though I desired to look like Avril Lavigne, and who has a Scorpio moon. But I basically found out that I was a Scorpio rising, and my whole life just started to make sense. I was like, holy shit, like I'm supposed to be gothic and pink is my only other color. Like it's so good to shock people that way too. And it's really just like gave me that permission, and it's given me so much endless permission. Like, don't even get me started with my love life. Like, oh my God, that's a whole thing. Because I'm in the soulmate relationship with my boyfriend. We've been together for 7 years, and when we found out our Mars and Venus placement and how that makes us show up in relationship, like it was so helpful. So there's just like so many different things that come to mind. It's basically just me in general. Like, even just, I have the chart of an astrologer. I have the chart of a healer. I have the chart of somebody who works with substance abuse and addiction in homeless shelters, which is literally what I did as a career beforehand. Like, I can't even make this shit up. Like, it's all, I have the chart of a circus artist and a dancer, which is also what I do. I have the chart of someone who's really articulately well-spoken and someone who's really good with people. I also have that. I also have the chart of someone who has, wounding and trauma around groups of people and friendships. I've also was really bullied growing up. It's all there. Like it's all there. And I just think that what's so amazing about understanding your own magic in your own chart is that you keep having these downloads for the rest of your life, because you think you're like, oh yeah, Luna's mastered her birth chart, but it's like, not really. Like, sometimes I'm like, how did I not notice that placement? Like, and then all of a sudden you have this like new wave of downloads, or you go back to the basics, and then something else clicks with you, or you have a reading with another astrologer and they tell you something that is, and so it's just like, it's just never ending. And I think like that's exactly how I see life, is that it's just a never ending growth of permission slips and magic and authentic, grounded ways that you can manifest in this 3D world and release all of that and then die one day. So, yeah.
And I think astrology really provides a way of almost, in essence, remembering who you are.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said before, that permissiveness to be able to say, okay, this is where I'm at right now, and I see this alignment. What are the things we need to look out for in our charts?
Yeah, I love this. I think, it really depends what you're wanting or what you're looking for. Like, for example, some people, they're just born beautiful. And they've never really had to experience the concept of like, what do I wear, or how do I dress, or how do I appear in the world? So if someone's like wanting to focus on that, I would tell them to look at their rising sign, their first house, like their Venus, stuff like that. But then if someone's like, well, I'm running a business and I really want to learn how to make more money, and then I would tell them, okay, well, look at your career houses, look at Mercury, so you know how to communicate your voice well. Look to Saturn to see where you may have troubles and challenges, but where you achieve mastery. You can look to Mars to see how your energy works. And someone's like, oh, but I really want to focus on love and relationships, and I really want to call on a perfect partner. I'd say, okay, well, look to your seventh house, look to your descendant, look to your Mars and Venus, look to your moon sign to know what you need to feel safe. So there's so many different things. Like sometimes people are like, what should I do for my life? Like, what is my sole purpose in life? I'm like, look to your North Node, right? So there's just like so many different clues and messages. And honestly, I teach all of this. I talk about this shit all the time. Like, and it is, it's a very unique way to how I do astrology, right? Like, this is like Luna channeling. So when people like someone messaged me recently, she's like, oh, I'm thinking about buying one of your astrology courses, but like I'm not like I'm pretty intermediate advanced, like what do you think? And I'm like, it's up to you. Like if you resonate with me and the way that I channel this information, like this is just Luna life channeling and how I see life and how I see the planets. And so it's all dependent on what you're seeking and how it finds you. Does that make sense? So, wow, that's really weird. I'm sorry, but as I said that, somebody just bought one of my courses, like on like passively. Like that's so funny. Wow, that's yeah. Anyways, it's a really weird timing.
That's such divine timing. What you're seeking will find you. Oh, look.
Yeah, wow, that was pretty good.
When you look at I love what you said about the fact that it's filtered through you. And just like any coach, any service-based in essence practitioner, the information is going to be filtered through the person's internal filters. And yes, some will resonate with it and some won't. When you look, and that's the same is true. Like I had a friend who was getting into tarot decks, and I said, just be aware of who's creating it. And if you resonate with it, then like awesome. There are some that I've seen that I'm like, oh, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Oh my God.
Being able to know like it's the information, like we are all conduits as electromagnetic beings. And so I love how you share that personalization, because I don't think that that's so often done in many service-based positions where they let them know like this is filtered through me and my experiences and my relationship that I have with my craft versus versus put me up on this pedestal. I am the guru. And this is how it is, which is not necessarily how it may be for every person coming into your world. So how do you differ from the astrological gurus?
Oh, I mean, there's so many different ways to look at astrology that it's so interesting, because I think like with the rise of, social media and all that stuff, like there's some weird astrology people out there. Like they're saying some weird shit. Like, and I'm just like, okay, this is actually not astrology. Where people are just like the worst 5 signs to date. And then, and it's just like, this is not helpful. This is weird. And then people are commenting like, yeah, like freaking hate Aries, man, or whatever. And
it's like that. Did you hear about that one club that literally they banned anyone that's an Aries? It's a club in New York. They said if you're an Aries, you're not allowed to come in, and Gemini is on the fence.
Wow. I did not know that. That's so, yeah, that's really weird to me. I just like, I don't think we're supposed to be like judging people. I think it's actually like the total opposite. I think it's about like understanding that we're all like on our own unique path, and that's why we behave the way we do. But anyways, yeah, I think that I don't know how I differ. I think I'm just being authentic to my experience and like how astrology's helped me and how I use it in my life. And I have three of the closest men in my life are all Capricorns, and my boyfriend is a Capricorn, and then we live with our best friend, and he's a Capricorn, and he's also like he looks exactly like my partner, so it's like almost like I have two of the same energy. And then I have this other best friend who's also Capricorn that's also same energy as them. And they're all really into astrology because of me, and they learn a lot just from proximity of me. And, I just post on my stories, like we all went dancing, and I was just like, I saw like the three of them, like they were all dancing kind of similarly. And I just like was just in so much awe, and I just like, and I posted on my stories like Capricorn boys or get the fuck out or something, like as a joke. And like, that's honestly how I live my life. Like, I'm not necessarily always channeling like the most insane stuff ever to have you make these crazy downloads and spiritual experiences. It's just like, how amazing is it that I have attracted three of the most amazing men that I know, that I'm with them every day, and that Capricorn is a totally compatible soulmate energy according to my birth chart. So, it's just like little things like that I don't know if that's how people use astrology, right? I don't really know how people like to do it, but like I have the most deep and mystical experiences with a total stranger within like 2 seconds of meeting them. And I think that's what astrology is for. I think astrology is for connection. I think it's for understanding why people behave the way they do. I think it's for, you meet someone at a party and you whip out a book and you're just like having these like crazy like experiences. Like I want more of that, and if there's anything that doesn't allow that to manifest or come through, then I just don't think it's good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I love what you said about the judgment, because it's not like, I think so often, whether it's, a personality test like a Myers-Briggs or a human design or even astrology, like it's so often, I think the problem people make is identifying with it. And they make it their identity and who they are. And I'm like, no, you're so much more than any of it. Mm-hmm. And you can judge an Aries, but that doesn't mean that you still don't have like Aries somewhere in your chart. So then you're thus neglecting and judging and rejecting that part of you, versus embracing all aspects. And I love what you said about the fact that there is diversity and accepting how we all are beautifully and uniquely created, with our own charts and our own designs, and how Capricorns all dance the same, apparently.
Oh my God.
I don't have a lot of Capricorns in my life. So.
Oh my God, it's my favorite archetype. But I think like that infinite compassion. I mean, you're talking to a Pisces, right? Which literally rules infinite compassion. But like that compassion for the human experience is what astrology should be used for. But also what's interesting is that some people will resonate with these really weird translators of quote unquote astrology. And that's not any of my concern, really. Like, there was a part of me that was like, oh my God, like people are, learning the wrong things and they're using it for weird things. And at the end of the day, it's like all I can do is channel my own unique message and hope that the right people will find me and resonate with me and want to learn from me and trust me. And that's what's been happening. So, and, people tell me all the time, like daily, like I'm the person that, made them like astrology, or I'm the person that made them change their mind. And it's not like I'm knocking on their door being like, let me tell you all the ways that you can be more Gemini in the great ways instead. It's like I'm just being. I'm just like slowly educating. I'm just like sharing if there's consent there. But I'm not trying to change people's minds. I'm not trying to dominate the conversation. I'm not trying to like tell them how it is, because this is the language of the universe. It would be so weird. It's really weird. There's this like, I even know this astrology, this girl who like makes a lot of money online as using business and astrology, and she is fierce and she is like kind of mean, and she really wants to tear down all competition in order to get to the top. And she's like, I have the answers. I am the one that is transmitting these, messages. And I'm like, I don't really resonate with that. Like, I don't think that someone should pay $50,000 to work with you and then they just hear how your shit don't stink. Like, it's not really like, that's not what astrology is supposed to be used for. Like, astrology is supposed to be a reminder to come back into your own power, and that you have everything you already need. You just have this map that you're learning to uncode, and you're learning to see the beauty of everything around you, of everything you've attracted in your life. And like, that's what astrology should be used for. And I hope that through my own humble experience of trying to help people live a more magical life, that this is what they find through the journey. Like, that's all I want.
Yeah, I love that the compassion that comes from that perspective of just having the awareness and the compassion to just understand, and then also looking at other people that you're like, yeah, but I can also see you have a heavy Taurus or whatever it is.
Oh my God, totally. Yeah, totally.
Your voice is your power, but if you are not leveraging it for speaking opportunities, content that converts, and a brand that commands attention, you are leaving money and impact on the table. That is why I love the Standing Ovation Society, where you get all the tools you need for public speaking, powerful messaging, content creation support, and real speaking opportunities to elevate your brand. And for a limited time, you can join for just $49 a month, because your dream should be attainable without breaking the bank. Claim your seat at Standing Ovation Society in the links down below today.
I think what a lot of people are wanting to know is like, what's on the horizon? Because we just entered Aquarius, age of Aquarius is here, right? Like, what can we expect in the next year, decade, based, 20 years, based on like what's kind of coming? I mean, I'm certainly noticing major shifts in the people in collaborations and people coming together in different ways and in valuing a depth of relationship. But I'd love to know from your perspective, like, what can we kind of expect and notice on the horizon, both for like the short term within the next like year or so, and then within the long term, like the next 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to say about that. I actually, in my podcast, I have more of what you're asking, like more in depth. But I think I think we're still in some transition points until I think like 2025, 2026. Actually, I believe we're like building up for something big. And I think like a lot of people do feel that. I think like one of the biggest things that I've been feeling is this Pluto in Aquarius, like we were talking about, that we just basically entered a new 20-year generational transit. So that's a big deal. And pretty much the day Pluto went into Aquarius was the day that ChatGPT got announced, which I have, this whole episode on that and reels about this. But I think that like we're slowly going to see robots integrated in our society. I think it'll still take some time. But
I don't think it's going to take that much time. I think it's going to be about like 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, that's kind of my projected timeline as well. Like 2026, when Uranus goes into Gemini, I'm kind of like, hide your kids, hide your wife. No, I'm just like, like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to be with it, but then there's also the concept of the metaverse. And I think like, how we're meeting virtually over Zoom. Like, I think in the next few years, it'll feel like we're actually with each other, and we'll have like, you'll have a house that'll be like very Leo rising that I will come to, and it'll just like feel like I'm actually in your home. So I do think like that's coming in the next little bit. And, I've kind of set up my business around, I'm like, okay, if it needs to go to the metaverse, like we're going to the metaverse. But and I think I think that's like the biggest thing. And just like short term, well, I think it's interesting that we're having like a Saturn retrograde summer. So I think like that's really about like revisiting goals and values and how we actually want to, where we want our hard work to go. And so I think rather than it's like, woohoo, like, you know, rat girl summer or whatever, like living like the free, like crazy wild life. Like, I think it's actually more about like contemplating, like, what are my dreams? How do I want to manifest this into a reality, and how do I want to work towards that? I think that's going to be in the back of everybody's minds this summer. That's kind of my thoughts. So
yeah, I've been noticing that trend. I mean, just this past week, I took a week-long writers retreat to finish my book, Make Every Podcast Want You. Yeah. And I needed to have like that space. I was like, I needed to have the quiet. I needed to just be with my own mind. But like, I needed that, like, it was that revisitation of the goal. Like, I'm like, I've had this like drum beat for the past, I would say, 2 months of just like, I cannot have another birthday without having a fully published book. Like, I have a multi-author bestseller book, but like this one is mine, and I cannot have my birthday in September without having my book complete, done, like on for pre-orders. And it was just that very Saturn energy of the revisitation of like, this is a doubling down in commitment.
Love it. Yeah, that totally makes sense. It's also a really good time to publish a book right now. Like, this is the year for sure, because Jupiter's in Gemini. So Jupiter is the planet of abundance and, you know, good things, and Gemini is the planet of words and communication. So depending, and also the ninth house is the house of publishing. So if you have anything in the ninth house, but yeah, it's a really, I would 100% publish a book this year.
All right. Well, we have 2 coming out. So.
Great. Yeah.
Yep.
Gemini, you got double. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. The double of one book, the Make Every Podcast Want You, and then our children's fart book, because why not?
Oh my God. So good.
Because I think that's, what's the house of fun and creativity?
The 5th house.
The 5th house. Yeah. There's what's it called? The triangle?
Trine?
Trine.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my own chart. And I was like, oh, fun and creativity. Sure. Let's just do this.
Yes. That's also Leo things in general, right?
Yeah.
Because Leo just wants to have a good time and create, and Virgo is going to be like, I need to be of service. I need to do something like, you know, tangible, and I need to help people. But Leo's going to be like, I just want to have a good time. I just want to be a child and be silly and, you know, be lavish. And so both of those realities exist for you.
Can you go through each of the signs as far as like what you see people just in your practice need to give themselves more permission in?
Oh my gosh. I think like Aries, like starting with Aries, like Aries people really need permission to be leaders and to really do things first. They're always doing things first, but until they have the language to understand, like, okay, I'm meant to be doing this first, then they don't really know. So yeah, leadership, doing things first, like going after their goals and dreams. Taurus people, like a lot of permission to just be sensual, to just enjoy the finer things of life, it's okay to want to make money. It's okay to want to eat a lot of food. It's okay to want to have baths. It's okay to like relax, but don't do too much, right? Don't get like too lazy. Gemini, I think it's really important that Gemini learns about the voice and the mind and how to communicate effectively, and how to really like articulate the mind to the heart, and how that is a cohesive thing, and being careful to not like have too much information overload without implementation. That's a thing. Cancer, I think it's really important that Cancer actually shows and expresses its sensitivity rather than trying to like hide it, or is like really moody or doesn't know who to open up to, but allows itself to feel safe and nurtured through its own inner safety and nurturing. And then it can also do that to others. Leo is just a lot of permission to shine, to take up space, to be a child, to do the thing that is in the spotlight. And if, your Leo placement, you're like, I do not feel like that. You probably have some aspects that would inhibit that would not allow you to feel that. So Leo naturally does want to be on the stage and shine. And Leo should be doing that. Being a queen, basically, like really putting the self out there. Virgo, permission for Virgo to, maybe not help as much, or maybe ask for consent to help others, and maybe just not see everything as like a fixing project. And somebody's like, okay, I gotta help, I gotta fix, but actually learning how to relax. We're learning how to just be easier on themselves and like not be so perfectionist or like negative self-talk, but just like trusting that their work is enough and that they actually contribute a lot just from being, and they're naturally always helping and improving. So just, not going too overboard. Libra, I would give permission to really learn about the self. Libra has a natural tendency to just want to be in love and want to be in relationship. And when Libra is not in relationship, Libra can kind of have like an identity crisis. So I think it's really important that Libra does find out who it is not in relationship. Then Scorpio, I think Scorpio permission would be to just feel all the things, to allow the own death and transformation, to constantly being reborn, to rising from a phoenix, to just like allow heavier emotions or things that may feel challenging, to just move through them and know that there is another light at the end of the tunnel, and to just be yourself, even if that feels like a darker period of time, because sometimes Scorpio can go through depression or feelings of like isolation or differentness. Sagittarius, a lot of permission to just like, keep being wild and keep exploring and keep traveling, but also, finding the balance between adventure and home, if that's a desire, and keeping the people around in your life that actually want you around, because sometimes Sagittarius is just so free-spirited and wild and doesn't really think about other people. And so that there can be consequences there if you're just living a bit too wild and all you got is a hammock and a freaking bicycle, and that's all you got. I have many Sagittarius friends like that, or Sagittarius rising friends like that. Capricorn is just a lot of permission to maybe not work so hard. That can be a shadow side of Capricorn, is just like very, very rigid and very strict and disciplined. And sometimes like loosening up is really important for Capricorn, to just feel like unique and natural, and like it's okay to be, not working so much. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to bend the rules a little bit. So just kind of like lightening up and becoming more childlike, because Capricorn ages in reverse. So actually like aging, being more childlike is really good for Capricorn, laughing a lot, being silly. And Aquarius, I would say permission to, keep making noise and keep making change and keep being weird and different. And if, there's a cause that you really believe in and there's something that really upsets you about the state of the world, like really just going after that and really like making it something that is important for you, really like gathering like community and the people you want to have the same vision as you, to actually make you feel like that is a world that you want to live in. And then we have Pisces, and Pisces permission is to just like be okay with not knowing what's going on, to just trust in the flow, to trust in the intuition, and really just like continue to manifest a mystical life through love, empathy, and understanding, and trust that everything will make sense in time if you just keep going with the flow. So yeah.
Oh, I felt all of that, like all of it. I'm like, literally, as you were going, I was just going through the chart, and I was like literally going through the whole circle. It's like, oh, each one of these areas where there's an aspect of me. So go find a chart, go work with Luna so that you can understand and have some comprehensive basics. Luna, I have loved our conversation. I would love to switch into a little bit of rapid fire, Are you ready?
Oh my gosh, more rapid fire. Okay, let's go.
So, who is your favorite female character in a book or a movie, and why?
Oh my gosh. The only person that's coming to mind is Juno, Ellen Page, which she's now a man, actually. She now I still have like that kind of takes away from yeah, I'm just gonna go with Juno.
Juno was a great movie. What person, alive or alive and in their time, would you want to trade places with to be in their body, see how they thought just for a day?
Oh my God. Oh no, it's so funny. I'm so bad at these things. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I literally don't know. I'm so happy with just being me right now. I don't know.
Perfect. I'm very curious. What is your sign in the space of money? What's the planet that's guiding that? And then what is your money routine? Because I think it would be different for every person.
I mean, I have a bunch of different things with that, but I think I'm Saturn in Pisces because it's next to my sun. So I literally like do spirituality for my career, which is literally Saturn in Pisces. And then sorry, what was the second question? My relation.
So what is your money routine?
Oh, my money. Oh gosh. My money routine is like I put my offerings out there into the world. People pay me. I'm twerking with my boyfriend. We're like, I'm serious. Yeah, I just like money's coming in. I'm flowing. I'm purchasing whatever I want. I'm going to circus retreats. I'm buying crazy latex outfits. I'm living large. And also like helping to change the world. So that's kind of my relationship with
Love it. What is your morning and evening routine to set you up for success for the day?
Oh, I need to be snuggling my boyfriend and smelling his armpits. Why does he smell so good? It's just like I need to smell him in the morning. Yeah, I need to cuddle him. I've actually been intermittently fasting, which is nice, and having ginger tea in the morning. That's like the biggest things, and also like exercising, working out, just making a to-do list of like what I want to do for the day, and also like putting on music is really important for me, and just not getting in my own way. So yeah.
What do you define to be your queendom?
My queendom, Miss Leo Rising. I would say it's a group of badass mystical women studying astrology and seeing life as magical, and where nothing is out of place, nothing is judged, everything is safe and sacred, and we're all just living large and feeling like queens, being abundant, and supporting each other through that vision.
Amazing. I love it. How do you crown yourself?
How do I crown myself? Oh my God. I think like going crazy on the dance floor. That's honestly my answer to that. And being on stage in front of thousands of people spinning in a hoop upside down or whatever, like just I feel very, very proud of myself when I achieve those things. Yeah.
Beautiful. That sounds like so much fun. Dizzying, but fun.
It's a lot of work.
So fun. Yeah, I saw one of my friends who was on this podcast a long time ago, Kat Lahoe. She's a aerial artist as well, and she's just brilliant burlesque dancer, a gorgeous human. So talented. So Luna, how do we find you? How do we work with you? How do we understand our charts better through you and helping you guide us to support us in understanding the language of the universe?
Yeah, so on Instagram, I'm luna.veronica.mystic, and sometimes we can get lost on the gram. So if you actually want to start learning astrology, I have a free ebook you can download, and it's just in the link in my bio. So follow me, go to the link in bio, scroll down, and download my free ebook, and it'll teach you everything to getting started with astrology, or if you're already, intermediate with astrology, there's still it's like a 27-page ebook. It's gorgeous. You'll love it. So go do that. And I also have a podcast called Words Are Spells, and that's on Spotify and iTunes. And then I'm actually going to be releasing my legacy soon. I'm launching a school, an astrology school. So it's going to be there's it's called the Academy of Astrological Arts, and it's a 4-month certification program on how to read birth charts professionally. So if you're brand new or you have experience, whatever, you just want to work with a mentor, you want to be in this space, you want to get taught, then I'm actually going to be launching that very soon. And if you want to join that, you can message me. I'm a real person. And yeah, those are the things.
Luna, it's been such a pleasure talking all things planets, stars, astrology, and archetypes with you. I've so enjoyed our conversation. And as always, my fellow sovereigns, own your throne, mind your business, because your reign is now.
Queen, let's talk efficiency. As a Virgo, I live for streamlined systems, and that's exactly why I've used Kajabi to run Crown Yourself since 2017. In fact, in 2022, we took it even further, moving our entire podcast and CRM onto Kajabi, because having everything in one place, game changer. No more tech headaches, no more system switching, just one smooth, scalable platform for business growth. And for a limited time, you can get 30 days free to try it out for yourself. Start streamlining your empire today. Click the link below to start your 30-day free trial with Kajabi. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If what you heard resonated with you, be sure to subscribe and start creating a bigger impact now by sharing this with a friend. Just by doing that one simple act of kindness, you are creating a royal ripple to support more people in their sovereignty. And if you're not already following on social media, connect with me everywhere at crownyourself.now for more inspiration. I am so excited to connect with you in the next episode. And in the meantime, go out there and create a body, business, and life that rules. Because today, you crown yourself.